Good day everyone. I'm Brenda Salvador from Group 7 and I am going to discuss about climate change and global warming. Since grade school we have taught about this on our science classes. Today, us all learn and be updated of what is happening in our environment. Changes in Earth's climate during the early 20th century have been mostly caused by human activity, particularly the use of fossil fuels, which increases heat-trapping greenhouse gas levels in the atmosphere, raising the average surface temperature. These temperature increases caused by humans are usually referred to as global warming. Key indicators of climate change can be seen in climate data records, including increases in global land and ocean temperatures, rising sea levels, ice loss at the poles and in mountain glaciers, changes in the frequency and intensity of extreme weather events. What is global warming? It is a climatological phenomenon known as global warming is the gradual warming of Earth's climate system since the pre-industrial era, between 1850 and 1900. Climatologists and other experts have been measuring air temperature for more than 100 years. We can identify long-term trends rather than passing weather phenomena by averaging these daily readings over the course of an entire year. Additionally, the planet is warming over the long run, according to data gathered from weather balloons, from the 1930s, and satellites, since the 1970s. How global warming occurs. When carbon dioxide, CO2, and other air pollutants build up in the atmosphere, they absorb sunlight and solar rays that have already reflected off the surface of the Earth. Normally, this radiation would escape into space, but because these pollutants may linger in the atmosphere for many years or even decades, they trap the heat and make the planet hotter. The greenhouse effect is the result of these heat-trapping pollutants, notably carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, and synthetic fluorinate gases, which are referred to as greenhouse gases. In order to study the seasonal cycle that causes carbon dioxide to rise during the winter when plants are dormant in the northern hemisphere and fall during the summer when plants are removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through photosynthesis, Charles Keeling began measuring the amount of carbon dioxide on a daily basis in 1958. But Keeling discovered an unexpected development over time. The amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere was rising year after year. What are the contributors of greenhouse gases? Carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are released into the atmosphere when people drive cars that consume gasoline and when coal and gas are burned to produce electricity. The amount of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere annually has increased. Since carbon dioxide has a lengthy half-life in the atmosphere, yearly emissions pile up. A further source of greenhouse gas emissions is agriculture. As they digest their food, farm animals generate methane, a particularly potent greenhouse gas. Nitrous oxide, another potent greenhouse gas, is released into the atmosphere by fertilizers created in factories. Sunspots and volcanic eruptions are examples of natural phenomena that can alter Earth's temperature, although they are not to blame for the current warming. Every year, scientists discover more information about the effects of global warming, and every year, we amass more proof of the catastrophic harm it causes to both people and the environment. What is climate change? Weather is the condition of the atmosphere throughout hours to weeks, including its temperature, humidity, wind, rainfall, and other factors. It is affected by the ice sheets, oceans, and land surfaces, which combined with the atmosphere make up what is known as the climate system. A change in the statistical characteristics of the climate system that lasts for several decades or longer, typically at least 30 years, is referred to as climate change. Averages, variability, and extremes are some of these statistical features. Climate change can result from both natural causes, such as variations in the sun's radiation, volcanoes, or internal climate variability, as well as human impacts, including alterations in the atmosphere's composition or land usage. Impacts of climate change. Between 1901 and 2020, the average global temperature increased by 1.98 F, 1.1 C, but climate change encompasses more than just a rise in temperature. Sea level rise, modifications to weather patterns like drought and flooding, and many other things are also included. The effects of a changing climate are being felt in areas that we depend on and value, such as water, energy, transportation, wildlife, agriculture, ecosystems, and human health. Hotter temperatures. There are more hot days and heat waves in almost all land locations. Higher temperatures exacerbate heat-related ailments and make it more challenging to work outside. When the weather is hotter, wildfires start more easily and spread more quickly. The Arctic has warmed at least twice as quickly as the rest of the world. More severe storms. In many areas, destructive storms have increased in ferocity and frequency. More moisture evaporates as temperatures rise, aggravating extremely heavy rains and flooding and resulting in more severe storms. The warming ocean has an impact on both the intensity and frequency of tropical storms. These storms frequently demolish homes and towns, resulting in fatalities and significant financial losses. Increased droughts. Water supply is changing due to climate change, becoming more scarce in many places. In already water-stressed areas, global warming makes water shortages worse. It also increases the danger of ecological and agricultural droughts, which can harm crops and make ecosystems more vulnerable. Warming. Rising ocean. Most of the heat from global warming is absorbed by the ocean. Water expands as it becomes warmer, therefore as the ocean warms, so does its volume. Sea levels increase as a result of melting ice sheets, endangering coastal and island people. Additionally, carbon dioxide is absorbed by the water, keeping it out of the atmosphere. However, additional carbon dioxide causes the water to become more acidic, endangering coral reefs and marine life. Loss of species. Both animals on land and in the ocean are at risk from climate change. As the temperatures rise, these risks rise as well. The rate of extinction in the planet is 1,000 times higher now than it has ever been in recorded human history, and this is exacerbated by climate change. Within the next few decades, 1 million species face extinction. Threats from climate change include exotic pests and illnesses, forest fires, and harsh weather. Not enough food. Global hunger and poor nutrition are on the rise for a variety of reasons, including climate change and an increase in extreme weather occurrences. Crops, animals, and fisheries might all be lost or become less effective. Food sources from herding, hunting, and fishing have been hampered. Heat stress can reduce available water and grazing areas, which can lower crop output and have an impact on cattle. More health risks. The single greatest hazard to human health is climate change. Air pollution, sickness, harsh weather, forced relocation, stress on mental health, increasing hunger, and inadequate nutrition. 13 million individuals every year are killed by environmental conditions. Extreme weather events increase fatalities and make it challenging for healthcare systems to keep up with the growing number of diseases caused by changing weather patterns. Poverty and displacements. Climate change makes it easier for people to fall into and stay in poverty. Floods have the potential to devastate homes and livelihoods in urban slums. Weather-related disasters have uprooted an estimated 23.1 million people annually on average over the previous 10 years, 2010 to 2019, leaving millions more at risk of poverty. Global warming and climate change solution and prevention. The greatest threat to life on our planet currently exists due to climatic change. Fortunately, there are numerous and well-recognized answers to the climate change problem. The reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, which must reach zero as soon as possible, is the cornerstone of all climate change solutions. Increasing the natural capacity of trees and oceans to absorb carbon dioxide can help stop global warming because both play crucial roles in controlling our climate. Keep fossil fuels in the ground. Coal, oil, and gas are examples of fossil fuels. The more of these are extracted and used, the worsening of climate change will be. As quickly as possible, all nations must transition their economy away from fossil fuels. Invest in renewable energy. The greatest solution to quit using fossil fuels is to switch to clean, renewable energy as our primary energy source. These include innovations in geothermal, wave, tidal, and wind energy. Restore nature to absorb more carbon. The natural environment is excellent at removing our pollutants, but we must take care of it. A good place to start is by strategically placing trees or returning land to its natural state through rewilding initiatives. Because photosynthesizing plants absorb carbon dioxide as they develop and store it in soils, this is the case. Protect the ocean. Large amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere are also absorbed by the oceans, which contributes to the stability of our climate. However, a lot of them are overfished, utilized for gas and oil drilling, or under danger from deep-sea mining. The ultimate defense against climate change is the preservation of the oceans and the species that lives there. Reduce how much people consume. Different aspects of our lifestyle, such as how we travel, dress, eat, and live in general, have an impact on the climate. This is frequently intentional. For instance, businesses in the fashion and technology industries frequently release considerably more products than are actually required. However difficult it may be, cutting back on the use of these goods is definitely worthwhile. Global consumption reduction in more affluent nations can lessen the burden on the environment.
It is simple to feel overburdened and like the problem of climate change is too huge to handle, but the solutions are already available. The challenge is in putting them into practice. All of the solutions require robust international collaborations between nations and corporations, especially the industries that produce the greatest pollution. The global response should be prompt and purposeful given the enormous disaster that the entire planet is currently experiencing. While adaptation to the effects of a warmer world will still be necessary, taking action now will help ensure the Earth remains a livable planet. Additionally, you don't have to struggle alone. Across the nations, movements are demonstrating how taking actions on climate change can foster community. Be driven by those who are most affected by its effects, and result in a future that is equitable and just for all.
Thank you for listening and watching.